it was a lovely day. Hope you're enjoying
Yes, it was a
I
lovely
hope you
day.
enjoyed the weather. Sorry for the delay, and hopefully we weren't keeping any guests waiting. All right, so this is the August 13th meeting of the Accessibility Advisory Commission, and I am calling this meeting to order. I will take attendance. Roger Trahan.
I'm here.
Okay, Paul Laturno,
Here,
Christy Proctor,
Here.
and Alexis Henry present here. Okay. Let's and Roger, I think we do have a new item to add to our new business because I
Sure.
saw that thing on All Things
Yeah, and
Grafton.
and before getting into any detail about that, I
Mhm.
noticed that maybe after announcements, I'll ask possibly for you to take that item out of order as I see the an attendee from the rec department, and I don't think that's by accident. So,
Oh,
um,
okay.
but maybe we would
Oh,
need to confirm that with him. So,
okay.
and so, yeah. Anyway, um,
Okay. Yep. We can do that. All right. Let me just share the agenda. Okay. Um okay, I have no announcements unless anyone else has
um,
any announcements?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
okay, so, and it's being taken up tonight at 7 o'clock in the select board's meeting. Our, Inspector of Buildings, Bob Berger, has resigned from town
Yes.
employment, and thus he is, that includes, uh, his seat or his slot on Accessibility Advisory Commission. Um, I spoke with the select board chair, who I asked, um, just to call attention to the fact that in accepting that, um, resignation of employment, um, and then as part of that agenda is item is that he's stepping down. That slot will be open. That two things. Number one, that it's been sort of in lay terms been referred to as the select board rep.
Mhm.
Technically speaking, the Mass General Laws calls for an elected or appointed town official, to at least one elected or appointed town official to be on the uh, on the Accessibility Advisory Commission. Without further defining what that title is, like what that definition is, who is a town official. Um,
Mhm.
I guess by default, because I'm an elected Board of Library Trustees member, maybe we have that. We satisfy that requirement without my seat being designated as that. In other words, I'm an at-large position. But I asked the chair to um, call attention to the fact that that there was also another vacancy too, an at-large vacancy. Um,
Right, right. And I had actually assumed we would talk about this more later on in the agenda because we've got,
okay,
you know, um
okay.
membership, but
Oh, okay.
I don't know if we want to hold off until that because
Sure. Yeah, I'm okay. I just
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
got things out of order a little bit.
Yeah, that's okay.
Right. Um,
Um Uh, so we did have correspondence from Matt Offen earlier, like right after our last meeting regarding an amendment, uh, a state amendment to regarding the remote and hybrid meetings. Did you all see that email? And then I searched on the state website and it looked like that amendment, well, it's in new business, but I'll get to it quickly. We don't have to spend so much time. It looked like that amendment had been withdrawn. Um, so it was not passed, it's withdrawn. So I don't know whether there's any background to that. Is it that this ability to have remote and hybrid meetings, is that sunsetting at some point? I mean, it was implemented during COVID. Does anybody
it was okay. So it was extended again, and I thought it was extended into 2025. And
well, this
so,
this looked like the amendment was to make it permanent,
right, and maybe
right?
they weren't ready to do so, or maybe they felt that, I mean, I can
Okay,
only speculate as to, there was no immediate need to do it because it hadn't been the extension had not been sunsetted. I
okay,
think, I think that went to sometime in mid 25.
okay. Oh, all right. Well, the reason, yeah, I couldn't see anything on the website other than it had been withdrawn. There was no
Right,
detail about, there was
right.
no discussion that I could find about
And I
why.
guess Dave Moradian, um, could be a go-to person who would know in real time what the status of any bill is, as well
Mhm,
as the reasons why anything may have been withdrawn or whatever.
mhm. Okay. All right. Um, Other than that, I had no other external correspondence of note.
All right.
Um,
And then I guess through you, Madam Chair, it may be worth a while just so, so our rec
you
department
can't call me
person,
Alexis, I mean, I love that formal title,
I
but
know, like the right Madam Chair, only because there's a guest sort of, I think, in the sort of waiting room,
in the waiting room.
maybe only as an observer, but I think it may not be a coincidence that
Yes,
he's here. And so rather than have him sit through the entire meeting for us to get to new business, I think it may be worth a query to see and maybe promote him to panelist and see if he wishes to speak to any items that may be considered new business. And if
yes.
not, he can just sit back in the not the participant status, but observer status.
Right. So is there a way, I'm gonna stop sharing for a second, because
Yeah, in other words, you go to your attendees,
yeah, I have participants and
and then
invite.
do you see the attendees?
Oh my gosh, unfortunately, I see all of my colleagues
All
that
right, so
I
let me do this. Oh,
I
oh,
see Catherine coming in.
there's
Catherine,
Catherine.
I thought you weren't able to make it.
My person just finished, so
Oh,
yeah, he just finished like 10 minutes ago, so
I don't
I'm
think
good.
this is a good way. Hi, Catherine.
Hi.
Happy to have you. Um,
so why don't I
can I
ask
make you co-host so you
you
can
can
Okay.
do it, Roger? Because if I go to
yeah,
participants,
Oh,
I
and-
have thousands of people here.
okay, so okay, make me co-host. I see his name.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Let me
Well,
all right, here, let me go here.
oh, and I can't do anything, you're right, unless you
Yeah,
make me
yeah, right.
co-host.
I'm looking for um oh, for God's sakes. Make host. There you go. All right, Roger. Now you're the host.
Okay. Hello, Cody Hurd. I see your yeah, it's the only way we can talk to you is by promoting you to panelists to see if you had any weigh in on any rec department matters. And I don't hear any.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, Cody,
We can hear
yes.
you, Cody. Welcome.
I apologize. I'm on my phone, so I'm trying to make things work. Bear with me.
This had to do with some online chatter regarding Norcross.
So I'll just to be totally 100% upfront,
Sure.
I'm here, I would guess I'd like to say strictly as an observer,
Mhm.
Only because as of this moment in time, I think the correspondence should probably go through the director. So
Okay.
I was more just jumping in to look and listen.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if everyone else in the group is aware that there was I don't know if you all subscribe to All Things Grafton on Facebook, but there were, and I think it was just today, right, Roger? Cody,
Yes.
the post. So someone, I'm assuming it was a mom. I don't actually remember her name, and I don't have it in front of me.
I actually have it in front of me. Shall I read
Yeah, I
if
mean,
you'd
I can
oblige
just
me to
summarize.
post?
I mean,
Yeah, you
she
can
raised
summarize. Yeah.
concerns about, she had brought her, I assume, young daughter with a disability to the new park at Norcross, and she raised some concerns about some of the equipment not being fully accessible. And there was one picture that she posted of, looks like you kind of climb up this, I have to walk up this incline to access, I think it was maybe a sliding board, and there's no railing. So, I mean, it sounded like she was generally raising the concern about the lack of full accessibility of the playground. And there was a recommendation for her to be in touch with our commission. And, you know, I mean, I just saw it 20 minutes ago. So, you know, we were going to add it as new business. Roger, I don't know if you have anything that you want to.
No, it was basically as a courtesy regarding transparency that I let everyone know that we had a meeting tonight. So the
Yeah.
timing was pretty good for me to let the group know that I would at least bring it up in new business. And so there was also some concern about, you know, mulch being kind of spread out over areas that were not, I mean, that were the port in place surfaces. And so, you know, others had weighed in regarding, um, you know, other deficiencies. And so, perhaps, so I guess, Cody, what is the process then? Is it, you're an observer status, so you wouldn't be the one to speak with, oh my God, I'm forgetting the director's name.
His name is Adam Lapointe.
Adam Lapointe, yes. Or do, I mean, or do you, Alexis, wanna just reach out to Adam and you know, to have him weigh in with, you know, or you have a discussion about you know, these concerns and you know, ways to just look at that space again and see if there's any way that things could be improved in any areas.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to reach out to Adam and I'm assuming, Cody, do you know if Adam has seen this post on Facebook?
I believe so. However, as mentioned, I was
Okay.
mostly here for a 100% strictly observer,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
I believe Adam is aware.
He
is
has
also
seen it and responded.
he's also
There's a
on the
comment on there.
agenda for the
Okay.
select board tonight. But
Okay.
I think my current plan was to look, listen, and try listen for like advice or better interpretation and bring that to the office tomorrow.
Okay. All right. All right. Thank
So
you. Yeah.
if you are interested, I will bow out of being on the board.
Okay. I will send you back over to okay. All right.
Okay.
He's
Yeah,
now
and
listed as an attendee.
Yeah, and I'm happy to reach out to Adam and see, you know, just I mean, discuss with him, you know, what might be done. Should he come to the meeting? You know, sort of, what are some steps, if anything, that might be available for us
Can I
to
ask
do?
a question?
Yeah, Paul.
What did the posting say about the safety of the park? Was it because of the railing or?
No, so the issue is, I mean, and so there was at least one picture that this mom posted that showed it's sort of an incline, and the way I interpret it is to, you know, you sort of go up this incline to access a sliding board.
I
And
don't, I'm just
can you
showing
see
it.
this? There's no railing on either
Okay.
side. So it's not necessarily an easy thing for a kid
Right.
might to actually climb up, you know. So her daughter was not able to, you know, fully access the equipment and slide down the sliding board. So you know, just my quick look at it as well, there's, you know, it's more of an incline, and it looks like it's got, you know, stuff on it to prevent somebody from slipping and sliding, but it's would be difficult to
Especially for a
Climb
small
up.
child.
a small child, nothing to grab onto, no
Right.
railing, no, it's so. And I mean, I've walked past that playground a million times, but I haven't gone in to look at all the equipment and to
Right.
see, but my guess is maybe there are some accessibility issues with perhaps some of the other.
I
Right.
think so.
And I seem to recall, and this was being in one of my very first meetings was when we discussed the letter of support for this. It was well underway. The plans for this were well underway when I first joined the commission. And I know that we wrote a letter of support, but it seems to me that the idea was that it was going to be fully accessible, and we've touched on it a bit in past meetings. Yeah, Roger.
Yeah, and one of the things I just looking at two things, looking at the Facebook post, two of the commenters said that they were okay with their names being used.
Yeah.
Michelle de Morinville, who posted initially, and Allison Wilson. But also, I think that I'm not going to say there was any trickery involved, but I think looking at the when the prior director came before our commission and showed us a two-dimensional picture that looked like just a color scheme, that there were two, the yin and the yang or whatever, that looked like two different color schemes. It turns out that the tan color scheme wasn't poured in place surface that I thought it was. It was actually representing mulch. And so I actually spoke on behalf of the Accessibility Advisory Commission, promoting this project as being accessible. And at the town meeting where the community preservation funds voted part of the cost of the project in. And so there were some other concerns that even though part of it was mulch, and mulch is not considered an accessible surface, that too much poured in place surface, that other parents weighed in that they felt that too many chemicals would be leaching out. And so it was 6 of one, half dozen of another, that even if it had been entirely poured in place, at least from the surface standpoint, that there may have been some dissatisfied, customers. And I don't know what that surface is made of. Is it a latex compound? I don't know. Yeah. And so I think that it certainly is worth looking at, not only making sure that the mulch stays with the mulch and not on the poured in surface. And that's a regular maintenance issue. And also, what are the other maybe universal design characteristics that may not have been adhered to in this instance.
Right.
So that's all.
Yeah, Christy.
And then I just also have to add, one person's accessibility is another person's inaccessibility.
Yes.
So one person who needs one version of a chair to be accessible, another person needs the exact opposite. I mean, we know people who need, and I use chairs as an example, some people need chairs with the arms, and other people don't want the arms. I mean, so I think you're also going to be looking at definitions and perceptions of disability, but the intent really, if I go back to that meeting where we discussed the design elements, was to be for the broadest range of people possible. That doesn't mean every person, but UDL and Universal Design, I know they were trying for that. So
yeah, and there may be nothing that we can do, but I think at least having a conversation.
And
it needs to be looked at, I think.
Yeah.
I think it needs to be looked at.
Yeah.
And we advise, that's what we do. And so, that I think we're well within our wheelhouse, well, maybe that's not the right word, what our purview to, just jump into the conversation and weigh in on it.
Yep. All right. So Christy, you can assign me the reaching out to Adam.
Okay.
And then I'll report back to the commission. All right, let me can I share now if I want to share the agenda, Roger, you have to be host again.
Hold on a sec. Or do I share screen?
I can't share my screen and I just. was
Multiple
like-
participants, I think multiple participants can share simultaneously, so I think that allowed all
Oh,
of
there,
us.
here.
Are you all set?
Now I can, yeah.
All right.
Okay. Okay, meeting minutes. I'm gonna jump ahead to the minutes from last month.
And just for a
Uh,
quick question, is Adam's last name with an E at the end, Lapointe?
I think it is, isn't it?
I think it is too. I just want to make sure. Okay. Okay.
Okay, yada, 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 yada. I will someday figure out how to get us onto Zoom without Roger needing to help me. That is my goal. Wait. all right.
I called Alexis at like 6:27. I was
And
like,
I had
Alexis,
totally prepped. I was all ready and.
I know.
And yet it wasn't.
I had some panic moments of my own in years past regarding the Zoom practice session and this whole, it's
Okay.
frustrating.
All right, so let's go through the minutes.
Would you accept, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes or approve the minutes of the draft minutes of July 9th, 2024.
I second.
Okay, any discussion? Yes, Roger.
All right, if you could, there's just some grammatical stuff. On page 4, under old business, it's these good educational opportunity is the beginning of the paragraph.
Under,
Big
under
truck,
old
yeah, which one?
business?
Page 4 of the meeting minutes.
Oh, page 4. Let's see.
Which item number?
Yeah,
Well, the previous page 3 at the bottom was 5, so it's old business.
old business, which one? We got big truck.
Oh,
We
big
got all the
truck,
way
yeah,
down to
big
8.
truck. No, B, Grafton Common Parking, sorry.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so 5B.
5B. All right, let me go up. Sorry. Grafton
Okay.
Common Parking, there
All
it
right,
is.
on the second line, it's just a spelling of Brian Zerko. All right,
Oh.
you ready for this spelling? The last
Okay,
name.
hold on. Let me back up and
Okay.
remove, other than the Z, go ahead.
No, it's SZ.
Wait,
C's-
okay.
All right, so
S-
erase his name, his last name
Yep,
altogether.
got SC,
SZCZ URKO.
got it.
All right. And then under 5D, it's Jeffrey Dugan. It's the last line.
Oh, not Durgan, sorry.
Yeah, it's DOUGAN.
Okay,
All right. And hold on one second. Under new business, the last thing is 4th line from the bottom, 6A sub 3. Right, okay. Zoning Board Commission it's Zoning Board of Appeals.
you.
So ZBA, Zoning Board
Yep.
of Appeals. And then that's it. I just have to add that as a tongue in cheek, I found it really funny that Catherine left the meeting at 8 o'clock and we adjourned at 8:01. So
Catherine, it
That
was
is
you
pretty funny.
leaving.
Catherine departed, yeah.
Catherine departed. Yeah, so I
That
think
sounds
that,
ominous.
yeah, she right?
Well, I'm still
Yeah.
here now, so we're good.
And then,
I got better.
and then I
Okay.
think, yeah. All right, so, yeah, I doesn't necessarily need to be corrected, but under old business 5E, AAC membership and roles that I had was
Mhm.
it mentioned how the AAC annual report on the website is from 2021, that I would proceed by asking William Blake to add 2022 and 2023, which he's done already. So thank you, William.
Oh, good.
So yeah, our annual reports are current on our webpage. So whether, you know, whether you wish to add that or not, it's neither here nor there to me, but so that's all the input I have.
Great. Okay, so we have a motion to accept the minutes
And I seconded.
Yeah.
and
Yep.
you seconded it, so now I'm
Yeah.
just gonna call roll to make sure everybody's in agreement. Right? Roger Trahan?
Aye.
Okay, Paul Latorno,
Aye.
Christy Proctor,
Hi.
Catherine Dupuy,
Aye.
Alexis Henry, I. So the minutes are accepted. Thank you all very much. All right, so let's go back up to the agenda. Whoa. This ends up being a long document.
I think a lot of it too is because of the remote meeting guidelines.
Yeah, which is fine, you know, just takes me a little while to roll through it. Okay, all right. Old business, big truck day. Roger, did I see you did send that letter?
Yeah, 1 month late, but
That's okay.
so I did that this morning, and you'll see that I put on the letter via email, and yeah, just to reiterate that Mike Kennedy was very gracious to show his modified
Yeah.
minivan, and it called attention also not only to modifications in general, but to accessible parking spaces and what an access aisle is. I was surprised that a lot of people just thought that was cosmetic with
Mhm.
stripes, and
Mhm.
they didn't realize about the left and right access aisle. So that was really good. And funny, I ran into Mike downtown Worcester on Thursday. So it was like, oh yeah, that was like a double reminder for me to get that letter out. So anyway, that was a good event. And then next year we'll maybe have some better signage.
Yeah.
We'll actually
Yes.
have signage. So
Well,
Lessons learned.
Roger, so what I used at the Pause for People signage, do you think if I bring that to the truck day, that will help?
that would be great. It can be an eraser board, it could be any easel, you know, just anything that calls attention to the fact that this is not just a parked vehicle, that this is part of the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. National Night Out. I think we need better signage. I think don't we have a little budget? Don't we have a little money?
We have $700. We're just rolling.
And we're just rolling. But
must
you
have-
know,
we-
I think, I mean,
must have
people are
earned a
very
lot of
attracted
interest
to
on
the
that.
dogs, the pups. So, you know, if we have the pups every year, we're gonna get some attention. But otherwise, we don't have anything that says who we are, or, you know, and we could get, I don't know, a sign, a table skirt, something that's a little
Right.
more. It's just a thought, you know, maybe a little more visible.
Yeah. Yes.
About, you know, who
yeah.
we are, and ask us about, you know, accessibility, you know, yes, Paul.
I think it's going to be important to have something that says who we are and what we do, what our goal
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, it's just not very, I mean, the pups are great, but I don't know that, I mean, a few people, you know, I know Christy was there, I was there, you know, it's a little bit of conversation about the connection between why we had
Right.
the dogs, and why does the Accessibility Advisory Commission have the dogs, but
And it wouldn't be a bad idea to create a document that's already in place, and it would just be printing
Right.
that basically a sheet that is
Yeah.
literally from
Yeah.
our webpage that is our charge.
Mhm.
And then we affix to it the most recent annual report, annual report of our commission, and to give people a flavor for
Yeah.
what we do.
Yeah, but maybe something a little more
We could do
engaging,
bookmarks.
friendly, visual. I mean, it's a lot of words.
something not too generic, but something specific.
But not
in the-
also, yeah, and also not necessarily text heavy, but maybe more.
Well, Catherine had mentioned bookmarks, and bookmarks can contain any number of words in visual,
Yeah, some swag.
or even I'm wondering a Braille bookmark too. Throw that in there.
It's a good
know.
idea.
Just a little something that, everybody has like, I mean, I know, we're not the bank, we're not the fire department, but everybody had like little tents with some signage and stuff. So I'm just wondering if we could,
Right.
I think,
we
I
have
think
another year to think a little bit more about jazzing it up a bit.
Well, Tom Dodd, from the South Coast Wheelchair Foundation,
Mhm.
you all know, and now the public will know through this discussion, that any wet surface, even if it wasn't currently raining, they would not have traveled
Right.
from Attleboro unless
That
they
was
knew
far.
that it was going to be dry. And so
Mhm.
they can't, that has to be a completely dry surface. So
Yeah.
Tom was excited about the prospect of coming next year in the national USA National Wheelchair Tennis. We had made a room for a second table, and they were going to have, because he's on the board, Tom is on the board of the board of directors, and was going to have a lot of like literature and such.
Mhm.
And then that would otherwise call attention to the tennis courts, but I guess the foundation itself has like banners that
Mhm.
would have been hung up on the fencing of the
Mhm.
high school tennis courts. So yeah,
Yeah.
but that was just one particular venue. But I agree with you about like the plastic things that hold things up, and other items that and swag too,
A little bit of
um,
swag,
uh,
little
Can I-
table skirt, something.
can I make an offer here?
Yes, Paul.
Have we considered wheelchair basketball?
that's a great idea. It's just
Yeah.
a little bit farther up
Right.
the sidewalk, but that's also an excellent idea.
I think that would be exciting.
Mhm.
Take
Yeah,
over the whole
especially-
joint. Take over the whole that
Especially-
whole.
yeah, Especially if it's raining and you can't do anything outside. It's a great possibility to have that kind of activity going on in the gymnasium.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be really, something that draws people into the gymnasium, because where it is now, it's all outside in that open space.
Yeah.
Nothing happens up at the school, right? It's all
Yeah,
right in front of the police department.
Right.
Right.
And that's why I had specifically requested the lower courts,
Yeah,
not the upper courts, just to keep it as close as possible. But Paul, that's an excellent idea.
is
It's a
there?
matter of,
I
Go
know
ahead.
that's something I'd love to watch.
Yeah.
we could do that even off schedule too.
Yeah.
We could maybe
Sponsor
try to
a-
pull that off schedule
Right,
to National Night Out.
yeah,
All right, well, I'm proposing to kind of keep this on our agenda for planning purposes, not necessarily every month, but I'm sorry, I'm at the point in my life where I feel like a year goes by very
I have a
like
friend,
suddenly we're talking about, oh, we gotta plan for this again.
I have a friend who owns a sign company,
Yeah,
and I think I might be able to nudge him into making something on a hardboard sign that we could put on an easel that would
Mhm.
at least have our title,
yeah.
I'm gonna ask him anyway.
Well, Christy brought her chalkboard easel and has very nice handwriting and did an
Yeah.
excellent job.
Well, I'm thinking of something that we could use every year.
Yes, yeah, I agree.
Of course, it would have to be stored in someone's place, but
I can figure that out probably.
Yeah. and it could be, what I could do is challenge him to design something for the committee that deals with the handicapped and people with disabilities. He might even be able to create something artistically. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'll ask him.
Okay.
Of course, I'll put a gun to his head and do it. No.
Well, that
We've
was
been-
in poor taste now.
Right, we've been friends.
Hopefully
we've
not,
been-
Paul.
We've been friends for about 35, 40 years, so I'll talk him into it.
Okay, moving on. ADA grievance procedure. I didn't know if there was anything else, any update, on that. Were we? Christy, do you know, was there something Bob was going to do?
Yeah, that's totally Bob.
Okay, all right, so. All right, so. We'll think about that when we think about membership. ADA improvement grant, also didn't know if there was just any update, whether it had been awarded or not.
So I left a message again. I was remiss. At that being on the bottom of the list of things that I had forgotten. But I did leave a message with Jeffrey Dugan, and is that today? Might have been today or yesterday. I think if we had been awarded, we would have heard
we would've
about it.
heard. Yeah,
I think especially Mr. Berger, having been one of the main proponents along with it. I mean, the town did that, but you know, when he was the ADA coordinator in his role, I think we would have heard about that. I mean, I can certainly, he may reply to me, but it was my understanding that those communications are pretty prominent, and
yeah. Yeah,
they say don't assume, but I think in this instance, I can't imagine that something like this would have been awarded and we wouldn't have found out about it.
right. Okay. Okay. And then Grafton Common Parking, were you gonna take a picture and put it on?
I am actually at my, I have some cloud sync and capacity issues. So
Okay.
my app to even take my picture, to take a picture won't work. And I'm
Oh,
wondering if maybe someone else wouldn't be willing to volunteer to take that picture of the congregational church side of the common to reflect that the old space is no longer considered the accessible space, and that the new space to the left of the opening is where the accessible space is now.
I
So
can do
Alexis,
that.
I was thinking, yeah, you live
I
like
can do
right
that. I'm
there.
actually meeting a friend on the common tomorrow morning to take a
Oh,
walk.
that would be great. Yeah.
I can take that picture. And
And
then,
and the other thing is too, is that whenever I've posted things regarding our commission on all things Grafton, I've always tried to put them on Grafton Rise as well, for you know, inclusivity purposes. You know, the I and DEI is inclusion. So I've tried to post those on Grafton Rise too. So
okay.
I keep getting stuff on my computer from Grafton Patch. I
Grafton
don't
what?
Patch, PATCH.
yeah, that's an online newspaper.
Okay,
It's all over the place.
all right, I didn't know.
Yeah, it's legit. Yeah.
Okay, I'm happy to take that picture. I will be there tomorrow morning.
Oh, okay. So I have a question for you. So the download again. All right, view. It's not allowing me to do it on the Mass Office on Disability web page. Is a listing of the FY24 recipients. Now, unlike prior years where it was in the fall, this was FY24 recipients, correct? Because they were awarded before 7/1. This wasn't the FY25 grant cycle.
Right, I thought that was what we discussed, that the award was going to be made before the end of the fiscal year.
Right. And so if anyone goes on, again, I'm having phone issues, and when I tried to look on the link for the Municipal ADA Improvement Grant Program, and there's a sublink FY 24 municipal ADA recipients under view. Goes back to my wallpaper. And so,
Okay, all right.
so
I'll take a look
yeah,
later
could
and
you,
see if I can
just to
find
make
it.
sure that we didn't miss that.
Yeah.
So technically the award was for FY 25 though.
Yeah, but I
Because
think
the state fiscal year, with the exception of grants,
Oh,
is July 1st to June 30th.
right.
And this is not a grant, this is an award. I mean, we're applying for a grant, but it's not a grant program per se. Because grants finished August 31st.
so,
So this would,
does it
this
say
would-
on the MOD website, Christie, that this is
I don't know,
FY 25?
I'll go there now, but this should technically be monies to be spent during FY 25 because
Right.
the money hasn't been delivered or given. Because if it was FY 24, the money would have to be spent in the next 3 weeks, and that's not going to happen.
Oh, so it has to be when it's spent. Okay,
Yes.
okay. Then maybe they were less efficient than I thought they were. I was surprised to see what I thought was the current grant award cycle already being posted. And that may not be
So
the
maybe it
case.
hasn't been posted yet.
Right.
Okay. We'll see what we can find out.
Thank you.
And I can't imagine that information, I mean, the state doesn't move that fast.
Yeah, it just went in at the end of June, right?
Well, I need to get the info out and
Yeah.
I don't even think the MOD has Grafton listed as having an active commission. I think that's how far behind they have been. And we've had an active commission for the past 5 years. And I brought it to their attention a few times, so.
yeah, because the FY 25 application was May 1st to June 14th to 2024.
Okay, so
Yes.
that's,
Okay.
okay.
All right.
Gotcha.
So those haven't been awarded yet. Or maybe they've been awarded, but you
We-
can't see it on the MOD website.
Okay.
Right. So we're good.
Okay. Okay, everybody do their conflict of interest training?
Mhm.
As far as I know, I have. I mean, I did it when I first joined the commission. I had these I remember doing all these long forms and searching for
Yep.
and I think that's what I did, was that conflict of interest training.
Paul,
So
was it, are you sure it wasn't the open meeting law thing? Did this take about an hour?
No, not really. It was
All right.
long, but I don't think an hour.
Yeah, conflict
Yeah,
of
no, the
interest,
training takes about an hour.
then it may have been the open meeting law stuff that you were looking at.
Oh, possibly.
Yeah, this is grueling. I mean, bring your lunch,
Mhm.
sit down and tune out the world because, yeah, it's
Yeah,
an
it's like
hour.
it's like an kind of animated PowerPoint. You go through multiple lessons. You have to take a test at the end of
Mhm.
each lesson.
I don't remember that at all. Yeah. So
Okay, then you
how
probably.
do I do it?
We got sent a link.
Look for an email, Paul, from the clerks,
Yep.
Okay.
clerks@grafton.ma or -ma.gov.
Right.
Okay.
And if you don't, let me know if you can't find it, because I definitely still have the link in my email and I'll forward it to
All
you.
right. All right. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. New banner photos. So I had email correspondence with Amber in the administrator's office, and she's like, I could help you with that. So, and she actually showed me an example. Let me hold on a second. Let me stop sharing this for a minute. And she suggested, just want to be careful that I don't lose all of you if I open something else.
So did she have some images?
No, but I think it was the finance committee that has, she said, do you want something like this? So hold on a second. Let me not lose you and find, what is that? Okay, there we go, there we go, there we go.
And Amber's last name is Diffendefer.
Ethan
Yes.
Deffer, yeah. It's Diffenderfer.
FER. Got it. Thank you.
All right. So all right. So let me share this. Let's see here. So here's the finance, they have this
Oh,
here. Just not exactly what I had in mind. I was sort of thinking more this photograph, but maybe we could do something like this, but a little more designy. So if you go to ours, right, let me see.
I'd love to get more of a collage where you have 4 pictures across
Right.
the top, and then
Oh.
each one would be an accessible park location. Like something that people,
Something like that, or, I mean, can you see I switched to our page? Does everybody see our page, or do I have to?
yeah, it's so
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, it's boring. So we could do that, or I was thinking, October is National Disability Employment Awareness Month. Do we want to have something that's changeable? I mean, I don't know that we would necessarily change it every month, but highlight certain things, like May is Mental Health Awareness Month. October is National, I always forget the order, National Disability Employment Awareness Month. Things like that, maybe so have a set of pictures, but then something we also flash that's, again, I wouldn't necessarily suggest to be monthly, but something that if we want to highlight certain important events, or, did you know it was the 35th anniversary of the ADA, or whatever year it was, maybe it's even more than 35 years.
Yeah, we just did 34, so we should be planning a big celebration for next July, by the way, folks, for
Right.
35.
Right. So, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think we could do it. And I thought, well, October is coming up soon. That might be one of, we try to aim for that. But I like the idea, Chrissy, of having just a standing set of pictures or images that are sort of the set thing that we have. And then if we want to highlight certain things, again, not so that we feel the pressure to do something every month. But yeah, right now it's kind of boring.
So question for you. When you go on to any other committee,
Yeah.
does that partial wording of Grafton Memorial, I mean,
This thing, well, there are different different.
oh, okay.
So like if you
Okay.
go to the Affordable Housing Trust, see, you get the high school here.
Yeah.
I think they change. I don't think it's not the same each time, I don't think. Like the Agricultural Commission has, they also have the high school.
Oh, they should have one of the beautiful fields in Grafton.
Yeah. The Ambulance Committee has
An
Grafton.
ambulance.
They're just got stock pictures around of town
Right.
buildings. The
Right.
Common that's a nice one. Right now we have the Common, and that's nice. No, now we're back to, now we have the high school. So it must
Right.
be a changing,
random-
Slideshow.
yeah.
Perhaps suggestion,
Yeah,
perhaps soft pictures of things which assist people with their accessibility, like ramps and special parking spaces, There must
Yeah.
be pictures that can be shown.
yeah. I mean, I don't think we can change this part because that's the entire town website. I think this
Right.
just, slides through different pictures, but I think we can do more to our actual page
Yeah,
to, you know, like I said, she had the finance committee, you know, has this, which is not exciting, but this is sort of maybe how much space.
it's still kind of boring though.
Yeah, but we could be more interesting than this, but you can
Sure.
see, they don't have something up here in this. This is, I don't think that this is changeable, but we could get space on our page for something that's more visual.
Right.
I wonder though, Alexis, the way that's playing out, it
Yeah.
looks like it's the same 4 pictures for any website. It doesn't look like any of these are assigned to a specific
No,
website.
I don't think so. Yeah, I think you're right. I think they just change. All right, so I'll stop sharing this, but if we wanted to, I think we could have a banner that had some, like I said, as we're talking about, some design, some visuals that communicated, you know, accessibility, and then swap it out on some key time, like July being the 35th anniversary, October, May, you know, like, again, I don't think we want to feel that we have to do something for every month, but there are some key sort of notable.
Could we inquire of high school students who are artful, who are very good at drawing and so forth, who might come up with ideas of illustration of the things that concern us?
We
Well,
could, but you know, there's tons of clip art. There's tons of stuff that
Yeah,
are in the public domain that we could probably use.
right.
Because we do want something that's easily recognizable, you know, like there's the universal symbols for, you know, wheelchairs.
Right,
You know,
right.
there's some things, but there's
A
really,
lot of times
out there.
people publish things and then they put a copyright thing underneath, you know?
Yeah.
So then you gotta be careful.
But Paul, we have $700.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. We're not gonna spend it all in one place though, right?
No. Yeah, and so anytime what we would need to do regarding that money is, we would need a vote of the select board. In other words, we would need to bring it to the select board to have them sign off on it in an open meeting.
Right. I think
Yeah.
there's probably stuff that's in the public domain that we could use that we don't have to.
Probably,
Some stuff we wouldn't have to pay for.
no.
But I think we would have to be consistent with the web design so that we
Yes.
don't go off the, or deviate from their look. You know.
Yes, yes, that I think is true.
Okay.
So do we want to put it on? Okay, so next month's August. I mean, an easy thing, this would just really be words, but I'm sure, you know, if you, I mean, I Googled it earlier today, National Disability Employment Awareness Month, which comes out of the Department of Labor, I think. I mean, you know, there's probably some stuff we could clip right out of there. That's maybe just the text, the vision, you know,
Uh-huh.
and like aim that for October, have that be our first one. Because before it's almost October.
Well,
Get it up in September. Do you know that October is not, you know?
It'll
So
be here
does-
before you know it.
Yeah, exactly.
So do we need approval? Do we bring forward our suggestions and then it gets moved forward? Like, how does this work?
I don't know.
Or does
I mean,
Amber
I'll-
just say, looks good to me and she does it, you know,
Amber's
like,
Amber's like, I could help you with that. I mean, I think if we kept it at
Okay.
least to start, like the finance committee has, where it's just, you know, kind of like a text box at the top of their page.
I think that is a specific area, sending viewers to a link regarding the financial overview section of the town.
But
I
it doesn't have to be.
No,
linked.
it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Right. And so
Or if there is, I mean, the National Employment for People with Disabilities Month, there is a federal page, landing page for that. We could make it a link if we wanted to.
Mhm.
Right. I mean, I don't know what's out. I don't know what's on that link, but easy enough to find out. But, October is basically here, so that's I don't know, I would say that's a good topic, a good month to start with, because it's National Disability Employment Awareness Month.
What is it
That-
called?
that could be on-
National
but that could be
Disability
across-
Employment?
Month, yeah. That could be used for so many things. We use it as Disability Awareness Month.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
but why not have it across every single page and have it as part of the slideshow? I mean, why does it just
Well,
have
that
to
would
be
be
on,
cool.
why does it just
You
have to
take
be
it
on
above
our
our
site?
page and do it, yeah.
Yeah, because why segment? Why not share it? Because disability impacts every single office and service that the town provides.
And every community.
Right.
Well, sure. I mean, if we could elevate it above our page to be more website wide, that would be great. You know, Amber, I mean, I said to Amber, could we have one on our page? And she's like, yeah, I could stick something on your page like this. And I'm like, well, that looks like a nice start. Who would we ask about elevating it beyond the
William Blake. I'm gonna
William
put him
Blake.
out there without Bob being there.
right?
I'm just gonna assume William Blake since he is I believe the web master. Is that the right term?
He's the go-to person, whatever for lack of a better title.
He's the assistant town administrator, is that his?
Mm-hmm.
All right, well. That would be great if we could do it. If we can't get it at that level, at least we could have it on our page.
Yeah.
I will
Yes.
follow up with William and Amber. And let's aim for October, because before you know. And in the meantime, maybe we could look at, clip art, stuff that's out there that is in the public domain that we could grab and put on our page to make it look a little more engaging.
Mhm.
Okay, all right, good. All right. Back to the agenda. Any other old business? Nothing I can think of.
Oh, just FYI, the day after I did send a thank you to Deb Gibbs.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Now, who's Doug?
Deb.
Deb
Oh,
Gibbs.
Deb. Oh.
Yeah.
Who's Deb Gibbs?
She's the volunteer.
Oh.
She's it's amazing. Pause is not a full-time program. She was telling me about all her responsibilities at Tufts, and then she does this too on the side. But she's the one who had the dog at the end named Bear.
Bear was a little Lhasa or a Shih
Yes,
Tzu?
and everybody loved using a brush to brush it.
Oh, and Bear was just soaking it in. Bear.
Yeah.
Okay. New business. Moving on. So I think we already touched on this.
Yeah. If I may, for the minutes, anywhere where Matt Offen's name, it's 1 T, not 2.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. We discussed last time this idea of a repository for past letters of support, correspondence, etc.
Yeah, I mean, it's not high on my priority. One of the things I've done is I have this where is it? Oh, right here. It's I have this thumb drive, right? Little all baseballs pictured over it. It has, I have basically kept every document since 2019, every agenda, all the sets of minutes, all the meeting packets, all the letters that have been written, up until I yielded chair to you, Alexis, that are on that thumb drive. May it be excessive to try to archive that for posterity's sake? I don't know, maybe, but I know we talked about it being probably a best practice to have those letters as part of the following meetings packet to document that they went out and as a means of archive.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if there isn't a way of, I mean, a thumb drive, can't tell you the number of thumb drives.
I know. In
over
other
the
words,
last-
someone would have to, on the town's end. In other
Yeah,
words,
I don't know if there's a
yeah, I mean,
shared Google Drive we could have, or, something
know.
that's,
I mean, it's,
like, if you move away, Roger, that
I know, right?
thumb drive's gonna go with you.
I know, and that's the thing. But you know what? So too hasn't the last time, we made an upgrade over 10 years ago in the town website.
Mhm.
Everything disappeared, like all the old archived stuff from meeting minutes and things like that from years
Yeah.
ago. So even the cloud isn't, or even the town website or web page is not a surefire means to do things.
Yeah.
The letters that we have done, most of the letters, like of thanks or of commission members who have left,
Mhm.
and even if they're not archived on our town webpage, these letters of support, whether it was for a school, um,
Mhm.
accessibility thing, or a community preservation committee, like an organization was going in front of community preservation committee, those letters of support made their meeting packets. And so anything substantive regarding things that would be coming in front of the town or town meeting or a vote or some type of appropriation, or at least housed elsewhere online through those other committees' meeting packets. So I think maybe moving forward, it's not a bad idea. It's just something that I thought of is seemed to be a missing piece, that like there's no way that we know like where that is or what happened to it. Like sometimes it doesn't get shared. Like I just happen to have shared the letter that I sent to Mike Kennedy, but what if I hadn't? You'd
Yeah.
never know whether that went out or not,
Right.
or what the contents were,
Right.
you know? But really it's for the public to know as well. And I don't know, I don't think anyone else, I don't know if anyone else is doing it, but it just is something I thought of is maybe best practice moving forward. Because no one's going to go back and look at this stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
I mean, I think of it, not sure that, the town is responsible for maintaining our agenda, our meeting minutes, et cetera, right?
Right.
Those are official documents of our.
Right.
If we wanted to, we could attach correspondence to our meeting packet, and then it gets archived
right.
along with that. I don't know that necessarily every correspondence, not every email, not every, I
Right.
don't think we need to archive the email that I sent to Amber to say, hey, could we have this thing on our webpage?
And this is why, Alexis, that when all is said and done, we know that the town report is something that's put in binder form.
Right.
And
So
that's why I kind of went the extra to really kind of really dig into for archival and posterity purposes and just for the public to know what we do, to really make that as detailed a document as possible without really getting too much into the weeds.
Mhm.
No matter what happens to the minutes or the meeting packets or the agendas and things like that, that at one of the ways we can sort of tie it all together is through a comprehensive and detailed annual report.
Right, which we have.
Yeah. And so, I'm not gonna, I'm not inclined to give any work to someone to, to sort of archive something. Someone at the select board town administrator's office would need to do this. And,
Well, I think it would only make sense if it was a practice of all the,
right. And I
Well-
think that a lot of people are, a lot of committees, do not, post their meeting packets. So, or haven't been. So we just happen to be on the cutting edge. So, but it's just something that, it's not, it's something worth talking about as a best practice, at least moving forward. But I don't necessarily consider it a high priority to somehow go back and create an archive.
no, no. No, maybe going forward,
Yeah.
more meaningful correspondence, letters of support for proposals or that kind of thing, or anything that's longer than like a briefing,
Right.
I would just say put it in the meeting packet and then it becomes,
Right.
and then it could just be, then it's noted. I mean, I know.
I mean,
work
if I ever were inclined, not that I ever would be, if I ever were inclined, at least on one, just for one meeting, just say, old business archive. And then that, yeah, right. In other words, all the archived letters, become part of that one meeting packet. It would be lengthy, but then that's one way to archive. It's like archiving an archive, without actually having it anywhere separate on the web page. It would just be, no one would really know where to look for it. Or we could say on our town webpage, archived letters from this period, see meeting packet of X date, but I think it would be a kind of a daunting task because it goes back to, 2019, you know what I mean? We're talking about 5 years of stuff. So,
That's
Maybe
60
it's more
meetings,
something to do
right?
going forward.
yeah, moving forward. Yeah. So,
Yeah, I don't know that. Roger, you're probably the only person who even could begin to assemble that kind of archive, but
well, the only reason I kept these things is that I found it helpful that, at least in the Word version, that I would have found myself drafting similar letters, and that I've copied and pasted similar language for grant applications and
oh yeah,
things like that. And so, I just kept a running folder.
no, it makes total sense. I mean,
You know,
for all the grant proposals I've written in my life, I never throw away a word. I never throw away a sentence.
right.
Oh, like I wrote a sentence about this 5 years ago. I'm gonna go find it and stick it in.
But the funny thing is, the other day, it was a couple of days ago, the thumb drive slipped out of my hand and almost fell into my coffee.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's just no safe way to do anything. So the thing
Just
would have
avoid
all
coffee.
disappeared. Yeah, avoid coffee.
Yeah, I think we can think about it going forward if we.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now we are down 2 members. I'm gonna move on to the next item, our membership. Christy, just as an aside, I was filling out that form where we have to fill out contact information because I have to get it back to the town. Was your term extended? Officially? On the website, your term expired in June.
Yeah, no, it was. I got the letter and everything.
Okay, for another 3 years?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I think she's on for another 10, but you're not getting away from us anytime
Okay,
soon.
because when I
Cal.
went to the website to find everybody else's end date of their terms, yours had already, it wasn't updated, so I just wanted to make sure.
Okay,
So that you got the communication that you, for the extension. Okay, good. Now we're down 2 members. I think it, Roger, I know that you said that, you know, you as a sort of town official, but I think somebody who actually works for the
Yes.
town is a good person to have on the committee. I mean,
Yeah, it said an
Bob
elected
knew
or
things.
appointed, elected or appointed town official. I think that seems to suggest not just a committee member, but someone who exercises some sovereign portion of the town, like a committee, a department head of sorts,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
we need someone with authority. I agree, Roger.
you know?
Yeah, I think we, and Bob was the ADA coordinator for the town, so presumably that position will be, someone will assume that responsibility?
Well, I'll say this is that I think I don't think you're ever going to, absent having an office on accessibility, I don't think you'd ever have someone that necessarily combines all the architectural knowledge that a building inspector would with all of the web development and social services and working with different populations that they will bring some significant expertise and input to the committee, but it won't be all encompassing. And so I think we had discussed how it's not a bad idea to continually remind ourselves that Center for Living and Working with Mike Kennedy and the Mass Office on Disability with Jeffrey Dugan to continually stay in touch with both of them as things come before us to really leverage our resources, no matter
Yeah,
who we have in that slot.
yeah, and yes, I agree. I mean, I think they are always there to advise us, and we can invite them on an ad hoc basis if we need. But I think as a regular member of the commission, it seems to me like having someone who is a town employee in the role of ADA coordinator certainly makes sense. Even if they're not the building inspector, we might not, you know, we might need that person then to go and seek out information, which Bob did often. You know, we
Right.
still sometimes raise things to Bob where he's like, well, I've got to talk to so-and-so or so-and-so to find out about that or come back to the commission. But I think having someone in town, you know, as a town employee, and I think, you know, it would make the most sense for the person who's the ADA coordinator to be our liaison, but to have that liaison
Right.
on the committee who knows really the inner workings of the town would
Right.
be.
I will say I just looked, and the job posting for building inspector does not mention anything about ADA, and there is not a separate listing for ADA coordinator. So I don't know if it's going to be lumped in or not,
Yeah,
or
it may
passed on
not
to someone
be.
else.
I mean,
So
it could just, I mean, it's probably not, I mean, it's probably an additional assignment. It's like, you know, task as otherwise assigned in anybody's job description. Somebody's just gonna assume the role of ADA coordinator. It isn't necessarily gonna be the building inspector. But who do we approach
But I
about?
thought the town, the town documents regarding the ADA grievance procedure and that the building inspector is the designated ADA officer in
In every
town.
town or just our
No,
town?
in Grafton.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, well, okay. But that might just be because that's, I mean, do we know? Maybe that's just because Bob wanted. Maybe Bob became the
Right.
ADA coordinator because he was interested in this area. And because he's the ADA coordinator, he gets the grievances, but it could be somebody else, I'm
Right.
assuming.
Right.
Um,
Right.
I guess what I'm saying, and I don't know how other people say, I think we need somebody who's a town employee to be our
Right.
liaison.
Yeah,
So
not just
when-
a committee member, someone can be reached every day, you know.
somebody who works for the town.
Right,
Knows
Yep.
stuff. Who knows what's going on?
yep.
So when they hire this new building inspector, he should be approached about that subject.
But they may not be, it doesn't necessarily, could be somebody who's already a town employee. I mean, I don't think it has to be the building inspector.
No, but I would think it's somebody who knows the rules and regs.
Yeah, and the
That's sort of
building,
thing.
in the building inspector is actually the zoning enforcement officer, so
You're right.
they would, and they actually are then, I think, I don't know if they're an ad hoc member, or but at least they attend the zoning board of appeals, the ZBA meetings. And as such, they know not only ADA, but it's actually the stricter of ADA or architectural access board, AAB regulations. And so at least there would be a piece covered. So even though it's not mentioned, Catherine, I think that maybe it should be, but
Well, it does
but-
say accessibility just as part of the general description, but it doesn't necessarily say that you will also be the ADA coordinator, so.
okay, all right.
I mean, certainly that role, that position should have has critical expertise for some of the things that we care about related to accessibility, but not everything, but yeah, I mean, for stuff that goes on in the town, anything related to building, anyway, I don't know, who do we reach out to find out if,
Well, I already spoke
And-
with the select board chair that just to really focus in on and reining in the conversation that people oftentimes in lay terms refer to this particular slot of the 7 as being the select board rep. And oftentimes the select board rep to subcommittees has been a select board member. And I told select board chair specifically that the mandate is from the Mass General laws that speaks to one of the slots being an appointed or elected town official. Doesn't have to be the select board member. They got so many subcommittees going on. Plus, number one, they're not there every day. And number two, they may not have the expertise that we're looking for,
Right.
And so I just, in speaking with her, she would then kind of, and maybe they've spoken about it already, the select board's meeting at the same time as us, it's 7 o'clock, that maybe the town administrator would, have some ideas, and it may just land on whoever the next building inspector is, but it's out there. It's out
Yeah.
there.
who did Bob report to? Who was Bob's boss?
Town administrator
The town administrator.
Yeah.
So,
as a department head.
okay, so we just reach out to, what's his name? The town administrator, Evan?
Well,
Blackham Town Administrator.
yeah, the
his-
select board town administrator's office. I mean, ultimately, the select board,
No,
um,
I'm saying. Right, I'm saying
Right.
like. Bob reported to the town administrator. Just,
correct,
what is that person's name? I'm forgetting.
Evan Broussard.
Evan, that's right, thank you. Having a senior moment. So Bob reported to Evan. I'm happy to send an email to Evan. Hey, do you have any thoughts about, as you're interviewing for Bob's replacement, are you thinking that that person may serve in the same role on our commission,
Right,
right? Just
yes,
finding out what the thinking is about that. Or Evan may say, no, I've actually got somebody else over here that has
Right.
expressed an interest, or, I'm thinking this person might do it, but, I'm happy to outreach to Evan and say,
all right, cool.
with Bob going, we really appreciate having a town liaison we need someone, and who's he got for us?
And on that note, I need to take my leave. See you next month.
Goodbye, Catherine. Thank
Bye.
you.
Take care,
Bye.
Catherine. All right.
Do we need to vote on whether I can send that email or?
I'm okay with just by consensus.
Okay. I will do that. And then are we sure we can't put on, all things Grafton, that we're looking for some membership? Accessibility.
Well, all right. So one of the things that I thought of is that we have to, I'm not aware, we would need to, in real time, be in regular communication with the Select Board Town Administrator's Office to see if anyone has applied for the vacancy, the at-large vacancy, because what we don't want to have happen is all of a sudden put it out there and then people start applying and miss the deadline. Like certain people have met the deadline, if there's even a deadline. Basically, I think when something is first advertised as an at-large position, usually it's like it's out there for a couple of weeks, and then it's just out there until whatever deadline there is to get something on the select board agenda for their next meeting. And so we'd want to be careful to make sure that we're not advertising it after the fact of people already having applied for the position.
How
You
do
know
we
what I mean?
find out if it's been advertised and if people have applied?
Well, it's advertised under a link that's deep within the bowels of the town website.
Where no one will ever see it. is
No
what-
one ever goes there. And it lists vacancies by committee. And
Okay.
then there's an alpha list of all people who sit on all boards and committees and what committees they sit on. And then there's the interest section. So someone can apply internally on the site or send a letter of interest and mail it to TA office at grafton-ma.gov,
Mhm.
which is town administrator's office. And so Amber and Cindy, between the two of them, would see that it gets on the agenda, but I think Amber's the go-to person there. And so we could do that.
Well,
And we
here,
now have the link. We have the link to our charge. And then we could say, by the way, I mean, it's just one, it's not replacing what the town is doing. It's adding to it. And so I know last meeting, I certainly was in agreement that, that I guess maybe a best practice would be to leave it up to the official postings, but no one looks at them. It's just,
right.
And the other thing too is that, neighbors talking to neighbors, I would gather that the type of conversations that come out of these web pages are far more productive or get far more traction than someone landing. In other words, we're initiating something, not hoping that someone just lands on, oh, what's accessibility advisory? That would interest me. And so one of the things so we had, I guess, agreed, we didn't vote on it, but we had agreed by consensus last meeting that I would pursue that in the Grafton News. And I missed the deadline for the following week, but then I put the brakes on, not knowing whether or not someone one or more people had applied for it. So do we can't assume that people don't look in the Grafton News either. In other words, if we're going to rely solely on web, I think it would behoove us to go with all things Grafton, the Grafton group. I know that some people don't like some of the politic of that group, but there's an overlap of people, and then Grafton Rise as well. And so do we then add the additional layer of the Grafton News, knowing that there could be a lag time that then people see for the first time and the door is already shut. Do you know what I mean? The web in these Facebook groups is a way we can act and react in real time.
Yeah.
In a very nimble fashion versus putting an ad in the Grafton News.
So I found the site that tells you about vacancies on town committees and boards.
Mm-hmm.
And it lists us as having 3 vacancies. Oh, sorry, take that back. 1, accessibility advisory. 1 vacancy,
Right.
but we have
it-
2, right?
But the thing is that that's for at large. And so I think it may
Okay,
it may eventually show 2, but there's really only 1 at large.
right. Okay, so there's. Okay, so people can't, right, I'm gonna,
But it really doesn't tell anyone what we do, does it? In other words, it doesn't, there's no link to our webpage from that portal, correct? Where you're
no, not that I'm seeing. It's like an
No,
online application.
right. And that's where I think that we need to be proactive.
Right, so I think, so if there's a way to find out if there are current applicants, which I'm assuming there are not. So we have 1 vacancy and then we have the town liaison. So we'll put that in space. So we have 1 vacancy that we want to make people aware of, assuming there are no applicants, right? And they have to come to a select board meeting to be voted on by the select board. Am I right?
Right. The expectation is then for all of those select board meetings are hybrid. So some people have applied via Zoom, but they want them to state their case.
Right, exactly. Write a letter, come to the meeting, state your case. So if there's a way for us, and if there is a way for us to find out if there are any applicants, that would be good if we could find out if there are applicants. If there are no applicants, I think Grafton News comes out once a week.
It comes out once a week and you have to, and it comes out on a Wednesday and and the newsstands and eventually reaches people on Thursday who subscribe. And I think the deadline is Thursday at noon for the following week.
Okay, so we find out if we have no applicants at all, easy to put it on. I don't know the Grafton group. I have All Things Grafton and Grafton Rise Facebook, I'm on those. I don't know the other one. One little thing and the link to the place where you apply, and then we put it in the news, and if in the meantime, by the time it comes out in the news, we've got 20 applicants, which we won't.
And I would also, it may be, I don't know if it'll allow you to do 2 links, but it would be nice to at least have a link to our webpage as well. So people know.
You want to find out about what the committee does,
Right.
go here, and if you want to apply, go here.
Right. And so I could always share if I mean, I sometimes say yes to too much stuff. You know what I mean? And I get so much on my plate right now that I look back at what I agreed to last meeting and I only get half of it done,
Okay.
So I don't know if anyone's willing to do that. If you put something on there, Alexis, not that you should have, everything should be on your shoulders. I would certainly share it to the Grafton group if you're not part of that group.
I'm not. I like I said, Grafton Rise and All Things Grafton, I am. But it would be good, Roger, if you or someone, because truthfully, I don't know who to ask, find out if we have any applicants, which I'm assuming we don't.
Well, no, an email to ta office@grafton-ma.gov.
Okay.
That's the town administrator select board's office. And so Amber and Cindy would reply to you reasonably quickly to say, all right, are there any applicants? And if there aren't, then we move forward with that
Okay,
blast. I mean, I hate to leave people out that would otherwise look at the Grafton News, but there's a whole week lag time.
well, just because we put it on All Things Grafton, or it doesn't mean we're gonna get any applicants. I mean, I
No,
don't see
that's
why we
true.
can't do both, and people can talk to people they know. We can do it, and we can have more than one person apply.
Right,
Uh,
right.
right? It's not. That's also possible. So I don't think that these efforts will necessarily get, dozens of volunteers. Right? Be nice if we got one or two.
Right. And it's also helpful, like when we think of not, just down the road, the types of ways with that in which people with backgrounds in accessibility issues
Mhm.
could where it is pertinent to be sitting on other boards, like having accessibility, someone with some background in accessibility be a member of the Recreation Commission, aside from that which the director and the assistant director,
Mhm.
bring to the table.
Mhm.
Whereas, whatever committee or commission elected or appointed, here are the ways in which accessibility needs to be at the forefront of those discussions, whether it be Affordable Housing Trust or Community Preservation Committee or things like that, that, not only our commission, but, sort of spreading the wealth,
Sure. Sure. Okay, so we're gonna put some stuff on the Facebook pages. I'll find out from the TA office if we have any applicants. I'm assuming not. Okay, wait a minute. All right. Christy, you're getting these notes on everything I said I was gonna do because I'm scribbling on a piece of paper. I'm like, what was I gonna talk to Evan about? I know. And we'll see what we get. Right? We'll see what we get.
Yep.
Okay, I hope. And then, all right. Development projects in Grafton. I don't know that there's anything else for us to say about this. We're just.
I will add that not so much development projects, but I read somewhere where Governor Healy's signature of the Affordable Homes Act, and this is maybe more in the announcements section versus an action item on the new business, where some of those monies would go toward addressing housing issues of those with disabilities. I'm not going to try to dig into where there's a news article about this on the Mass.gov website, but just to know that housing initiatives under this 5 point whatever billion-dollar bond bill, there's monies that are dedicated toward housing initiatives for those with disabilities. So maybe that's more under announcements, retroactive, maybe add that to announcements. I don't think there's really, but because of this agenda item, development projects in Grafton, who knows, what element of accessibility may be put forth regarding one of these projects. Maybe it's going to be a group home. Maybe it's something where we may have more of a weigh in if it's something that we're not used to seeing. So.
Yeah, I just know that, there's, I mean, I just put it on as I don't I don't know if it's new business or old business.
I know, right? Or even
been-
announcements. I don't know.
There's a lot of conversations about these developments. How many are affordable? How many will be accessible? You know, I know the one on the Upton Street. I think there's still ongoing conversations about that one. I'm pointing to Upton Street because it's out my window out in
Right.
that direction. But anything else, any other new business?
Under new business, just on the Adam Lapointe, going back to our earlier discussion, he did reply and gave his contact information, both in phone number and the Recreation Department
Okay.
email for citizens to voice complaints. So, he felt, he said, I'm, sorry people have had a bad experience, but here's how to contact me. And it's Lapointe is with an E at the end.
Mhm.
I don't know if we had what we said, what we thought his name was spelled, but
We
so
did have-
that is being addressed. I mean, he acknowledged it.
Okay,
But again, it was like the same discussion we had last month. It's like, this really isn't the forum to officially address these things. You know what I mean? But sometimes this is where they start. So,
right. Well, and we can advise on,
right. Yeah.
who to connect with, or are there some things we can
Yeah. Right. Right.
uh, help push forward?
Yep. All right. Will you accept a motion to adjourn?
I would absolutely accept a motion to
All right.
adjourn.
All right. So
Anybody want to
moved.
second that? I see Paul raise his hand.
Yeah, I second that.
Okay, all in favor, Roger Trahan,
Aye.
Paul Latorno,
Aye.
Christy Proctor,
Aye.
Alexis Henry. Aye. I will stop sharing that. All right, we will see you all. Our next meeting is September, what? Sorry. September 10th? Second
Yes.
Tuesday? I actually have a wall calendar. That's what I was doing as leaning over